The news is massive, it's breaking news, and Dan Ashworth has left Manchester United this morning. He's got to be one of the shortest term directors of football in history. He only started officially in July. He's not even seen Christmas. Turkeys have lived longer than this. Absolutely incredible. And this is also being driven by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos in removing, effectively, it's mutual, but nothing's mutual after 5 months. Something's gone wrong there, and apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have driven this to get rid of Dan Ashworth. What are your thoughts? However you look at this, and I've got to be honest, my take's probably different to everybody else's, but however you look at this, it's another bump in the road for Manchester United. They spent heavily in the summer and gave Erik ten Hag a new contract. They sacked him. They brought Amorim in, and Man United have had a bad start. And now the director of football that they spent most of this year trying to get, remember, end of January, we're taking Dan Ashworth from Newcastle, and then he starts in July and he's gone in December. It's embarrassing. I tell you what, all that resonates with me is that, I think it was Simon Jordan said it, what is Ineos's footprint in football? People at United are getting all very excited, but look at what went on at Nice. What is their imprint in football? It's chaos. They sacked a lot of managers and they weren't particularly successful. This is embarrassing. What they did with Ten Hag was embarrassing, but I agree with it. Give him a chance. He's won the FA Cup, but they got rid of him. But Dan Ashworth is embarrassing because this, to me, is a joke in the sense that you brought a guy in that you took out of Newcastle, you caused a massive upheaval at Newcastle, a massive, long, protracted court case with Newcastle. You get him in, and then he's gone in 5 months. And it just looks bad on Ineos, and it looks bad on Dan Ashworth, and it also sends us into a January transfer window without a director of football, and also into a summer transfer window without a director of football. And, you know, I think that when you've changed your manager and you've changed your director of football already, and you've not even been here a year, you're sort of getting a reputation as volatile. You're sort of getting a reputation as, you know, Todd Bowley FC, where it's just change, change, change. And we're never going to change if we're not consistent. The flip side to that is I never really was massively into Dan Ashworth anyway. There was just warning signs we've discussed before. But we'll talk about that in a moment because this is the news and this is how it reads. Manchester United have parted ways with Dan Ashworth. He's left his role at Man United after just 5 months. Ashworth obviously officially joined in July after a long departure, but his departure was agreed in a meeting with Chief Executive Omar Barada at Old Trafford after United's Premier League game last night, which actually fits in with what a lot of people were talking about last night, saying that Dan Ashworth left quite quickly without any acknowledging the media, and I was just like, oh, maybe he's in a bad mood. Obviously, that had relevance. So Jim Ratcliffe has been pivotal to the call to part ways in a move that will stern staff at United, given Ashworth's prominence in trying to reshape the club. Multiple sources speaking anonymously, like others in the story, to protect relationships, say United instigated, this is all coming in from the New York Times actually, and David Ornstein. The club say the final agreement to end Ashworth's contract was mutual. However, multiple sources say United instigated the separation. The new Radcliffe-led hierarchy, overseen by Sir David Brailsford, placed Ashworth in overall charge, but have decided enough is enough. So, I mean, look, I sort of find myself like, if you're going to make changes, but look, my take on this is, Dan Ashworth always worried me. The Brighton project wasn't really his. England was very Southgate-centric. And I'm not overly convinced about Branthwaite, who is definitely somebody that Ashworth was pushing. My personal take on this, in the absence of any information, is that Ruben Amorim has come in and there was a good relationship between Ashworth and Ten Hag, and that there isn't a good relationship between Amorim and Ashworth. And I said this about 3 months ago, and look, there are certain aggregators on social media out there who talk about, you know, walking in like a boss, United mean business, because basically they've got their head rimming the Ineos, structure. And the reality is, I think the better way to be is to go, there is no, just because Eric Ten Hag gets sacked doesn't mean that Wilcox, Ashworth, Berardi won't get sacked. Why would you sack Ten Hag, the manager, and not sack a director of football or a technical director if they're not doing the job you want? I said this a few months ago. I mean, we could be in a position, I got it wrong. I said we could be in a position where next summer, after a year, they decide that it's not working with Ashworth or it's not working with Wilcox. They don't know these people. Ashworth's come from Newcastle. Wilcox has come from Southampton. Berardi's come from Man City. Favel's come from Europe. Like, the only people they know are Brailsford and Blanc. They've not worked with anybody else. So, in a way, I'm not surprised this morning that Ashworth's gone, because there's no relationship. They haven't spent Christmas together. They just saw a director of football at Newcastle that they liked. And obviously, it doesn't work. So in a way, I'm sort of like, I'll acknowledge it and say, I sort of understand that if it's not working out, it's better to make a change quickly. But it's bad recruitment. And we can't afford to do this with players. It's the same thing we do with players. Overpay for a player, give him stupid wages and a contract, and then they don't fit because they've got the wrong character. We can't afford these mistakes. We're 13th in the league. We've not been near a title in 10 years. We can't afford to keep making these expensive mistakes. And it is an expensive mistake. He cost us a lot of money. To get him out of Newcastle, he cost us a lot of money. There'll be a lot of money in his contract to leave Man United as well. It's embarrassing, but on the other hand, if it's not working out, I suppose you move them on. But look, to me, that it can't be a coincidence that Amorim comes in and Ashworth goes out after a few weeks. And I wonder if there is a few conversations that have taken place between Amorim and Ashworth where it's just not worked out. And I would predict things like, look, for example, Ashworth saying, I think we should buy Branthwaite, and Amorim saying, I don't want Branthwaite, I want Iheanacho from here or whatever. And I think on those terms, that you can understand that. You've got to back your manager. I mean, I hope we're going to do it with some fucking players as well. But this is shocking news on a Sunday morning to wake up and see your director of football's been sacked when he's only been here for 5 months. I mean, it took us longer to get him out of Newcastle than it did that he was in a job. It was the end of January when we were getting Ashworth. He didn't start till July. So he spent more time on gardening leave than he did at Man United, which is just incredible. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.